Hello, thank you everyone for joining me today. I am going to walk through the Xywave portal today and cover it both from a policyholder perspective as well as the internal administration side. What I'm sharing on my screen right here, this is the policyholder view. So you can customize a message at the top where it says, Welcome to your Guard policyholder portal. The first time someone logs in, there will actually be a notification here at the top below the welcome message where if they click it, they'll be brought to the settings section. This allows each policyholder to brand the portal based on content that they would like to have access to by getting emails. So if I'm personally in Wisconsin, if I wanted to brand my location or brand the type of content that I would want to see, I could actually save these settings. So if I worked in a safety setting and I particularly worked in construction, any compliance or state litigation that gets published at the state level for Wisconsin or at the federal level, I can actually be emailed with updates and content for that. Now, notice here back on the home page, that'll actually brand this inbox section to my specific settings. So if I want state settings, as I mentioned, compliance updates for Wisconsin, they will filter through to here. If I click this, this will actually give me content recommendations. So it could be things, such as employee engagement tips for small business, great resource for your small employers. Now, back here at the beginning, you'll notice that there's a lot of different content on the portal. If I click content library here on the left-hand side, these buttons are actually going to mirror the tiles at the bottom. So they're pre-broken out by different categories. If I were to click safety, either on the left or the bottom, it would take me to the same section. So now this content is all searchable by industry, type, format, topic. You'll notice that if I click on any of these content pieces and click view, it gives me the option to share it from here, a description of the document itself. I can download the document right from here to its desired format. But also, anytime that either a search is done or buttons are clicked on the left-hand side, you'll see that these drop-downs on the right-hand side will appear. So these are a little bit different than documents as I just showed of what you can download. If I needed safety content or safety had questions around how to survive an OSHA inspection or poster requirements, I click any of these and we actually have state embedded links right in here. So while this isn't necessarily content, it's a quick win and an easy, quick resource without me having to search for a document. It's a bullet point list. And we'll also put the hyperlinks in here for quick resources for the policyholders to access. Now, if I do a search, it works just how any other search bar I'm sure you've used on the internet before. If I had wanted to search cyber insurance or I just search cyber here at the top, it's going to bring me this different content based on my search term. So if I wanted to send out a document or wanted to understand the value of cyber insurance, I can filter down my search further using the different filters. Or if I click cyber liability here, it brings up that viewpoint of the document. So the search bar, very easy to use. Now, outside of the content within the platform, that is a big piece of the platform. We will surface up and recommend content based on the settings and based on what's popular across the industry and on the specific size of the employer that's using the platform. But outside of the content, there's a various amounts of different applications that they'd be able to use to help streamline services that they may spend too much time on in the back end. So if I click HR apps here, notice that this has a plethora of different HR applications. These are resources that'll open up an additional tab, and they're kind of meant to streamline back-end services that maybe an HR representative spends too much time on. Anything from an interview question builder, either online or in person, anything from a salary benchmarking tool, a performance review builder, an enrollment booklet builder, that can all be generated from the system here. And you'd have access to permission and pick and choose which clients or policyholders would have access to this. Compliance apps, that's where I can actually build an employee safety manual. This has the compliance poster builder on it. So depending on what states your policyholders are working in, they'll be able to download posters at a state and federal level. If I launch and open that up, each one of these tools is going to have a similar look and feel to what I'm showing you here. You notice that we have the federal poster advisor and some of those other resources I mentioned embedded at the top here. But if I keep it selected as federal and I choose my state of Wisconsin, you'll notice that it's going to give me the required states, the required posters for my specific state. Now that this is available to download in multiple English or multiple languages outside of English as well. This is going to vary based on the state that you select. It just happens to be Hmong, Spanish, and English for Wisconsin. So outside of the posters, I mentioned that you can generate handbooks as well as safety manuals from the system. That can be done with the document builder as well as the handbook button here at the bottom underneath LMS. This will take you through a web resource of uploading your own additional documents, bringing the state and federal compliance guidelines right into the tool. Something as such as the multi-state laws comparison tool, just making sure the right resources and content are brought in. Now, LMS, that's where safety training and learning will live, where you could permission out different courses to your policy holders. This is all tracked within the internal environment here. So if, let's say, I gave access to my policyholder A/B test, they would have access to over 210 different courses with this active dashboard I'm showing to be able to track the progress on all their different courses. These are courses that have quite a wide use. This could be anything from chemical and construction safety all the way down to your workplace state harassment and violence courses, OSHA compliance, manager success, general workplace safety. So they all have quite a few wide variety use cases. But if I wanted to assign this out to someone, I could even assign out a quiz with that course as well. It would populate, they'd get an email in their environment, and I could track if it's open, what's been completed. And from here, an administrator could actually import their employees into the system and administer the courses themselves. Now, outside of the training and some of the safety resources, we do have an HR hotline here. This is a team of 12 employees here at Zywave with an HR expertise, where you could use this from like an HR perspective, of course, or like an employment practices standpoint. If I have a question around anything in the HR practice, or if a policyholder has a question around that particular service, I could always call in. I could get an answer. Any question that they ask will be logged right here on the left-hand side. And on the right-hand side is where they could submit their particular question. Now, outside of the HR hotline, when they request, we'll also recommend content to them. So in addition to getting their question answered, there'll also be a compliance document that we will surface to them as well to help ease their question. If I ever have questions and I'm using the portal, there's two places where I can access that. There's a help button here on the left, as well as a help button here at the right. I click help site or contact support. That gives me the option to search a Zywave help site, or if I want to live chat with someone with questions, I can always contact through there. Now, outside of the policyholder viewpoint here, there's an additional resource of how, from an internal administrative perspective, you can manage content that goes out and manage how your content looks. So if from the guard side, when you open this up, this is what the content will appear as. You'll notice that it looks somewhat similar with the search term, but if I open up any one of these content pieces, they have a tag next to them that says customizable. So if I click on this, this is what the viewpoint would look like from the internal administrator side. I can change the theme of the document itself. This is the default Zywave branded theme. But if I were to click existing theme and I want to use a guard sample here, I just quickly slapped on the guard logo, but you could easily brand any series of content to guard. Now, if I wanted to share this from here or make further edits, I could create my own custom theme, change the font and colors, or upload a different logo. But if I was satisfied with this appearance of this content, I could share out from here to social channels. I could push to the portal. There's a specific section within the policyholder portal that says shared with you. This shared with you section, that is particular for any content on the internal side you would want to push to any policyholder's portal. Now, there's also a section that says related content. This is going to give me other pieces of content that are similar around the same messaging and just recommendations from us. Details will be the description of the document itself. And similar to the policyholder environment, if I wanted to download content, I could do that right from here. It'll auto merge in with the title or with guard's information. But if I wanted to email this out, I would click email. Now from here, this is what the setup of sending a content piece out would look like. When you click email on any document from the internal side, it's going to bring you to a screen much like this. I can choose who it goes to by clicking to. This lets me pick individual people, or if I have a list created, I could pick recipients from that particular list. I can choose the date that this is going out on. I can change the format if I need to. And then down here at the bottom, I can change the layout of how my email appears. So this is a preview window. Imagine this is how it would look like once it hits the inbox of the policy holder. I could change the colors. I could even have the AI system generate some text based on what type of document that's sending. The guard logo would be down here at the bottom with the branding. And if I wanted to rearrange this or move things around, you could click these buttons and just change the overall layout. Now, if I click generate here, and maybe I'm sending this to a risk management expert. This is going to be a short email and they're my client. I can quickly have our AI generate like a quick message for me just based on reading this document. This is about the DOL employer chip notice. So if I think this was going to find interest, one of my policyholders, I could easily have our AI write up a message for that. Now, once this is sent out and I choose who this goes to, you'll actually be brought to this email marketing screen where it says calendar here on the left. This is kind of the final setup screen that shows you what you've scheduled or what you have sent out in the past. Now, I could do that for campaigns as well, or groupings of content. If I click on campaigns here, and maybe I want to send out this workplace checklists monthly campaign. Since it's a monthly campaign, there's going to be 12 different checklists within here. So if I click email, as opposed to me just emailing out one single document, I could email out all 12 of these if I wanted to. Now, when I proceed to the next step, it's actually going to let me pick each individual date that I think these documents should go out on. So maybe I don't want them to go all out on the 18th. I could stagger them to go out like every Friday after that. I just have to go through here and choose from the list. Now, once you have your desired dates set up for how you want to send this out, you would just click done, and it's going to create different email editors for each date that you're sending content out on. I could use the same functionality here to generate content. It's showing me a preview of what's being sent out. So on the 18th, I decided I'm going to send out 5 documents, and the rest of the 7 are going to be sprinkled in the coming weeks. Now, again, if I would click to, I can choose who this is going to go to. So we're going to send this to Liam Test. I click confirm. I can also CC who else would need to be on this communication. If there's a designated email that you'd want content to come from versus your own name, you could change that too. Now, when I click send, this is going to, again, bring me to that preview screen. Again, the calendar. So you can see it's telling me for the following weeks, I have an onboarding checklist that's scheduled to go out. Now, of course, we do have reporting on this, and we have reporting for usage of the policyholder portal as well. So if I scroll down here, I can see there's a button that says reports. There's one that says client utilization. That is specific for how the policyholders are engaging and using the platform and the portal. Email marketing, that's going to be specific to what we just did. So I sent out an email marketing campaign. If I want to track the engagement of whatever I sent out, that can all be done through reports. So we're looking at communication tracking. I can see the number of clicks, emails I've sent, unique opens versus the actual email opened itself. I scroll down here at the bottom, I get different distribution reports based on a date range, particular account, anything that may have errors. But really, this is going to be your whole viewpoint here to see how people are engaging with content that you've sent out. And then I can even break this out by the type of content that I've put out there. So if I only want to run a report on things that exist on the portal, I could do that. Or if I just want to run a report on things I sent out, this is where it would be managed to. That's everything that I had on my agenda that I would want to share today. I appreciate the time, and please let me know if there's any questions.